Welcome once again to Rattler Up with Coach Walsh, live from San Marcos High School in the Rattler broadcast studio. This is where you've got to watch every Monday night to keep track of all things Rattler Nation. I'm your host, CJ Odom, and with me as always, head football coach and athletic director for San Marcos CISD, John Walsh. Coach, how are you doing today?
Good. It's been a while, but we got a lot to talk about.
Well, we got plenty to talk about. You, sir, have been a busy man. Am I correct?
We have, yes. We have.
Absolutely. Well, this week on Rattler Up, we get to talk about some of our athletes that represented Rattler Nation at the state wrestling tournament. That's going to be exciting to talk about. Gets to be something we're talking about every year now with that team, right?
Since I've been here.
Absolutely. Well, of course, we've got to talk about the excitement of the playoff run we're in the middle of with the boys basketball team. And live in studio, we'll be joined by members of the San Marcos High School girls soccer team and their head coach, Cassie Harmuth. Now, Coach, the girls have been on a roll. It's going to be exciting to have them in.
Yeah, absolutely. They're on their second half of the district. Got a playoff push coming. It's in their grasp, and it's going to be interesting to hear them talk about it.
Absolutely. Well, now, Coach, before we begin, we want to talk about another group of athletes that represented Rattler Nation very, very well this past weekend. We had a group of our Special Olympians that headed to their basketball tournament this past weekend, and they brought home both gold and silver medals. So some top athletes out there representing Rattler Nation, wearing the purple and wearing the white proudly. You see there our teams that went out there and made us proud, and we're going to talk about what they do and how they do it because it's really incredible. But, Coach, this program has really taken off here at SMCISD. It is so great to see them out there doing amazing things for us as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it's really special because I bump into them every day. They're always in the SAC gym or they're always in the turf room. And Lauren Dawkins and Amanda and that crew do a great job with them. They're no different than the other athlete. They're spending extra time up here on Thursday nights working on their athleticism on the basketball court. So we aren't on the track. So it's a special group. You know, Lauren sent me some texts, pictures of their success on Saturday after all the girls went in back to back, after the boys went in, after softball went in, and it just added to our social media, and it was good to blast them out too.
Absolutely. Well, we had two teams participating at the basketball tournament this past weekend, the white team and the purple team. We want to give them some credit. So that you saw the pictures there. You can see how excited they were. The white team, they were represented by Casey Teague, Jenna Wilkerson, Chastity Rodriguez, Riley Coco, Kamari Daniels-Robertson, Jonathan Resendez, Sarah Bending, and Molly Dowd. And then you saw the purple team there wearing their medals. And the purple team was represented by Angel Perez, Valeria Cruz Garcia, Tyler Merkin, Xavier Jackson, Anthony Cordova, Mary McGovern, and Abraham Ortega. So again, we want to make sure all those kids got their recognition.
Absolutely.
Because again, Coach, we've talked for as many episodes as we've done. We're talking about all our teams, all our fine arts, all these programs putting in the hours of work.
Right.
And I think we've expected that to be that is the Rattler expectation, and it is translated to success. And I think the Special Olympic team is the epitome of put in the hours, see the success.
Yeah, same thing. I said it earlier. I said it to someone this morning. They're no different than our athletes that are in the UIL competitions. They're putting the time in just like everybody else is.
Absolutely. And so we were also, it was really exciting. They have opening ceremonies as a part of all their Special Olympics events. And we had two athletes that were actually get to be a part of that. Joseph Ropolo was able to read the Special Olympics oath, and Casey Teague brought in the opening torch. So, I mean, we were in the opening ceremonies. They earned their medals. And so I talked with Amy Lovelace earlier this week. She's one of the teachers that helps put this together. She's been doing this for a long time. She gave me some of the details. I know that it's been going on as long as I've been here,
right,
and as long as she's been here. And sure enough, we've been participating as SMCISD for more than 15 years in the Special Olympics. And I can tell you that for me personally, that goes across teaching, being an administrator in my current role, and it is absolutely great to see them do this. It's so much fun. For us, we participate in 3 different seasons, essentially.
Oh, wow.
They have in the fall, they do the bowling tournament. In the spring, it's the basketball, and they are already getting ready for track and field. So they're moving into track and field. Basketball's over, boom. They move right into spring competition with track and field. They can start as early as 8 years old. It goes all the way through their Crossroads program. So this season for basketball, we had Rodriguez Elementary, Miller and Goodnight, both the high school and our Crossroads program all represented.
That's very cool. Very cool.
And so we talk about the players, but there's some coaches. You know, when we're going to talk about the girls soccer team here in a minute, and we're going to talk about those girls, but we're going to talk about the coach as well because it's so vital. And there's a group of teachers. We want to make sure that everyone knows the hard work. And you talk about the hours put in. And that's the coaches and teachers, Amanda Bland, Lauren Dawkins, Marcy Fuel, Cassandra Harrow, and like I mentioned, Amy Lovelace. Those ladies do a phenomenal job, and that's who you've seen in and out of the gym with those athletes.
Every day we see them, and they pour their hearts into they're very passionate about their job and those kiddos, and you can see it reciprocated. It's fun to watch.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to talk at the end of the show. We always talk about opportunities to see Rattlers in action, and we have a really great way to see these Special Olympians in action. I want to give a big shout out to the Miller and Goodnight track teams. They are having a tournament or a track meet here at the high school this Thursday, and they have actually invited our Special Olympians to participate in that track meet.
Yep.
So the track meet is going to be here at San Marcos High School out at the stadium or at the practice field at 5 o'clock. And you'll want to be out here. You can see the Miller Goodnight teams, and you can see our Special Olympians all participating as one. Really cool event, and all in preparation for they have their spring event in Austin on April 22nd. And so if you have a chance to go out there and support those athletes, I can tell you I have not been able to make a track and field. I've been to basketball, I've been to bowling. It's one of the best times you're going to have watching these kids and all that they get to do. Well, our Special Olympians were out there winning medals this past weekend, and another group of Rattlers took home some hardware the past weekend, and that is our girls wrestling team. Over the course of 3 days, our athletes battled the very best across the state of Texas, and we just continue to be amazed at what these girls were able to do. And so we had 2 seniors that have now competed in their final matches in their Rattler wrestling career. Kaylin Martin, senior, she went 2 for 2 and 2 at the tournament, had a really great showing. And then, of course, Jessica Bonda, she got all the way in, won her final match as a high school athlete in wrestling, and took 5th place in the state. And then you've got a junior, so you talk about a kid coming back. We were excited to know that a junior, Anissa Moreno, ends up 4th place in her weight division. Incredible showing for her. Coming back as a junior, so we know we're just going to keep doing this with this wrestling team.
Yeah, and there's a crew up behind them too. You know, I watched the district meet, the rest, and the regional meet, and then the state meet. And there's a slew of girls and boys behind them that Garvin and Jeremy Cross got ready to go. But watching these 3 girls is incredible because for 2 minutes, there's 3 rounds of 2 minutes, and it's intense and it's strategic and it's painful. You know, Jessica Bonda has to wear an arm brace to protect her. I think she had a torn ligament in her elbow all year long. So to watch them, you know, to win, and then lose one and then come back and fight is really incredible. And Anissa, how close she was to a state championship.
That's what I've been told.
It's hard to explain because in her, I don't know, 2nd match or 3rd match at state, they tied at the end because I'm still wrestling stupid, so I'm learning as I go. But it was 1-1 after 3 rounds, and then they went to overtime. Nobody won. They went to double overtime and nobody won. And then it was a 3rd, and I mean they are just exhausted and hurting. Her head was all bruised up, but she battled, and then she just dominated the rest of the tournament. And so she was that close.
There's that moment in time.
Yeah, she's that close to being she's that close to a gold medal, but she's back. And if you're a Rattler fan, I expect her to be in that gold medal match next year.
Yeah, and I don't think people, again, it's the newest sport that we have here, right? We talk about all these other teams with winning cultures, and we've been teams, obviously, for decades and decades. This is a team that hasn't even got a decade under their belt, and yet we're always talking state with this team. 14th overall in the state of Texas. Again, every 6A school in the state of Texas. Number 14, and as it's explained, that little fraction of a moment you talk about not only puts Anissa in the state championship, it puts us in the top 10, if not higher.
No doubt.
You talk about the excitement of that 2 minutes. It's a cliche to talk edge of your seat, but I can say every time I've been to one, I got to go to a state one a couple of years ago. You literally creep to the edge of your seat.
It's a great
watch
spectator
because it is
sport.
2 of the best minutes to watch action happen.
And I want to give credit too. There's 2 families in town. The Bondas and the Morenos, and they've been since I've been here, and I think before I got here, they've kind of been the backbone of the wrestling program. They just had generations coming through. Yeah. Banda's got a room down there by his shop where he's building wrestling in our community. So it's a growing sport. We got it in the middle school now. And it's just going to keep growing.
It's really cool to know that legacy's there, and that's what I wanted to ask you about, Coach. So we know that for you were a part of a perennial state competitive football team as a head coach. And so what is that like for coaches Garvin Smith, Coach Cross, to you go into a season and anything shy of getting to state's almost a disappointment when you've had a run like this? How do you manage those expectations? What's that pressure like to where state becomes the very realistic expectation for a program?
Yeah, well, when it's your expectation, you have to keep that workload toward that expectation to make it reality. And they're recognized across. When you go to the regional meet and a San Marcos athlete is wrestling, you see the crowd just kind of gravitate to where they're wrestling. So, usually you just watch your people, but they know when Anissa when it was her time to wrestle. They knew when it was Jessica's time to wrestle, and they've earned
the crowd goes there to watch.
Yeah, they've earned that respect. And I think the best thing about when you ask how do you manage those expectations, you just stay modest and you work your tail off. And if you know those girls, that they definitely do. They're very modest. They're good girls. And they work their tails off.
Well, and there was conversation too about the brackets and how very often other schools, it's like if you're going to win the state title, you're going to have to beat a San Marcos kid. You just hope you see them deeper so I love that the idea that other schools are looking at the board going, please don't give me a San Marcos kid early on. Am I right?
That's a true statement. That's a very true statement.
That's a great place to be. So congratulations to those girls. Congratulations to those coaches. And just continue. And we can't wait to see all you're going to keep on going and accomplishing next year. So when we get back from break, we're going to meet another incredible group of young ladies that are making Rattler Nation proud. And we are joined by members of the San Marcos High School girls soccer team live in studio here at Rattler Broadcast Studio and their head coach, Cassie Hormuth. All that and more. Keep it here on Rattler Up. Welcome back to Rattler Up with Coach Walsh, again live from the Rattler Broadcast Studio. And Coach, we're excited about this next segment. If we talk about the Rattler Broadcast Studio, we have these student production associates that come in, put all the work together, the graphics, the packages, all these other things, led by Josh and Jack Moore, and they've set us up. This next segment, we got a 3-camera shot, we got a couch. We're a live band. There it is, Coach. We're a live band away from being the Tonight Show.
We're close.
And that's a reference that's going to go right over the heads of a lot of our viewing audience. But we are joined now in the first ever 3-camera setup like this by the girls soccer team to discuss their season early on. Now they are at this point 7-6-4 on the season with a 2-2-1 district record. They're on a win streak, having taken care of East Central 5-1 and Clemens 1-0 last week at Rattler Stadium. Now there are 4 games left in district play, and then the girls are battling for one of those coveted playoff spots. And so we thought we'd bring them in to talk about the exciting season so far. But we have with us today, first of all, head coach of the girls soccer team, Cassie Hormuth, and we have players including, and why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, give us your name, what grade you're in, and what position you play.
My name is Caitlin. I am a senior this year, and I play goalie.
I'm Sadie. I'm also a senior, and I play center back.
My name is Kaya Jensen. I'm a senior, and I play holding mid.
All right, and we want to start with you, Coach. We always want Rattler Nation to know a little bit more about our staff and for our team. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and just how you arrived here in San Marcos.
Yeah, I played soccer at Texas State, and then I moved away for a little bit. I taught 8th grade science in Hawaii, and then when I knew I wanted to come back, I knew I wanted to coach, and my college coach reached out to me. He was just like, hey, there's this opportunity in San Marcos. I was like, well, been there before. I love that place. And I met with Coach Walsh, and I was like, he was awesome, and I was like, I can't turn this down. So
and that's why
I'm
you
back.
were trying to get the PO in for the Hawaii trip. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Well, we had to make sure before we hired her.
There's an angle for everything.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, how have you felt so far about this season?
Great. I think it's cool to see over the last 2 years how our team has grown. I think we've just I've gotten a better feel for what I'm doing, which I think in turn has helped us come together and kind of create our expectations, not only for my expectations, but as a team and as a program of what we want to accomplish. And I think just I can feel the closeness on the team is more so than the previous year. And so I just think seeing and facilitating the overall growth has been really exciting.
Awesome.
And I'll add to that just because when we did, so I reached out to the Texas State coach who then reached out to Cassie's. And so I knew I was getting someone who knew soccer. She was an expert at her, but she hadn't been a head coach yet. And so to watch the soccer program last year, she was growing as a head soccer coach, as she alluded to. But when you watch their program and play last year and you watch them this year, man, there's a great improvement. And you can tell they've taken the coaching. She's found her groove, and it's showing on the field.
Well, and what she mentioned is the thing that when I have conversations, and I'm always asking around, and the consistent theme is that team play that's there.
Absolutely.
That this team seems to have really coalesced around what you brought to the table, and I think they're really excited about that. So, Coach, with 4 games remaining before the playoffs, what is your ongoing message to this team to keep them focused on the goal ahead?
I think we just keep reiterating our goal, which is to make playoffs. And so we have just focused on every single moment, every opportunity that we get together. We want to make the most of it. We talk about making it purposeful. We talk about quality over quantity, especially this far into the season. We've had a lot of games underneath our legs, so we really want to. We're trying to minimize injuries, and so keep our practice time low, but keep it quality and just keep it focused, and just keep reiterating our goal.
As a coach, you always have an idea of what you want the season to be, but I think that there's usually some time in there where you know what you've got. Is there a moment? Is there a game? Was there a practice? Was there a moment this season where you kind of looked out and said, this is what we wanted. This is headed in the right direction. Did you have that kind of feel at some point?
I think just like as we started playing, as we split into JV and varsity teams and started building that team chemistry, so pretty early on in our season, I knew we had individual talent, and as we brought that together, I could just see it more and more, like the team chemistry on the field, the build-ups, the grit, the desire. So I don't know if there was a specific moment, but I think it gradually grew. Like just as we played together, it grew more and more.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk to the girls. Let's find out what they've had going on this season. So let me get all of you to answer this first question. Just what is your favorite part of being on this team this season? We'll start here and work our way down.
Well, I think the chemistry of the girls is really good. Like, we've just had so many opportunities to meet, and then just being together is amazing. I love, like, the chemistry within the team.
Yeah, I have a personal relationship with every girl on the team, and I just think that that's true for most people. And so we're all really close, and we just have a lot of fun together, and yeah.
To me, they feel like my second family. Like, I know that's kind of cheesy to say, but like, I've never had this strong of a bond with the team, so it's really special to me.
Well, and that seems to be paying off on the field, am I right? So we'll start here again and come back just for you. So the thing we've heard most, like we talked about, is that team, and you all talked about it as your favorite thing. Why do you think that's happened? What have you seen that's made that come together specifically this year?
Well, I think that because we had so many opportunities at the beginning of the season to meet each other in those events where we spend time individually, it really made the bond strong and has carried out throughout the season.
Okay. And so for you, I'd ask you, so you're all seniors, but as a senior for you, you've seen a lot, right? So you've seen some changes, you've seen development, you're seeing what you're seeing this year. What do you think strategically with the soccer itself has been one of your keys to success this year as a team?
I think we've focused a lot on connecting our passes and building together instead of trying to play more direct or anything like that. We focus on working as a team towards finding goals. And we have a more experienced group this year. We're all sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And so we all want to make playoffs and have that desire to win. So
awesome. So now you have 4 district teams or 4 district games remaining, right, to get yourself into the playoffs. What do you think that the team needs to do over these next couple of weeks and stay focused on to get that playoff berth?
Something we've been talking about a lot is finishing. Like, we're always so close in every single game, and I think that if we just find the corner of the net, it'll pay off.
Awesome. And so, Coach, how do you? I've asked coaches from all different sports in this situation. How do you kind of maintain that focus with that and negate the pressure? We know that with 4 games, there's a certain pressure. With 2, there'll be a little bit more. That's just real. What do you do as a coach to kind of keep the kids grounded and focused?
Yeah, absolutely. Every game we talk about 3 keys to success, and we pick out 3 things that we want to focus on. Maybe it's something we did well in the previous game or something we want to improve upon in this game. So we talk about those the day before game, and we reiterate right before the game. And we actually have a little practice thing that we do at the beginning of each practice.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys want to say what it is?
Yeah, we got to hear about this.
So we say, we are focused, we are ready, and ready to work towards our goals. And so we just start our practice with that every day so that we're all kind of ready to make our practice quality.
Awesome.
So we really, we hone in on the focus at the beginning, and then I think we're trying to stay positive because we've kind of had some adversity throughout it with the losses and the ties and just being so close to the finish. We just need to put that cherry on top. But in these last couple games, one of our keys to success has just been mindset and positivity going into it. And I think that's something that the girls really take to. Not every athlete is that way, but I think this group in particular, if we can keep our mindset positive and productive and constructive, that's been one of our big keys to success.
And I think from an experience standpoint, being in these situations, and they haven't, she's young, she said a real important thing is to the quality over quantity. Sometimes coaches just want to grind and grind,
Right.
but they need energy to finish the season. And I've always said fresh minds and fresh bodies are going to win ball games, and it sounds like they got that figured out.
Awesome. Well, we want our Rattler Nation to understand this is something you got to be a part of. You got 2 weeks left to get on, and then the bandwagon's pulling out of the station for the playoffs. We're going to be there, and we want you there filling up that Rattler Stadium and make sure you're there to support these girls. It's a fun brand of soccer. It's a lot of fun to go out and watch. So, girls, we want to learn a little bit more about you outside of soccer. We talk all the time. We know that our student athletes here at San Marcos High School are involved in so many different things. So just run down the list and down the couch here. What are some other things you do here at San Marcos High School?
Every single thing available at San Marcos High School. I'm involved in student council, class council a couple years ago, JSA, pathways. The list goes on.
Yeah. I'm NHS president this year. I'm our senior class vice president. What else? I'm in Taffy and Stattlers. That's our new program with Coach Stoughton this year, and we've had so much fun. And yeah, Kaya and I are both in Taffy, and we actually have something exciting coming up this week.
On Wednesday, we leave for Round Rock to go to state, and then hopefully we will advance and make it to nationals, which is in Florida.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, TAFE is your Texas Association of Future Educators.
Yeah.
So they're over in my neck of the woods here. We're really proud of them. They're going to be competing at state this week and hopefully headed to nationals
Yeah.
for TAFE. So coaching, teaching in your future, is this, what are you thinking?
Maybe. We really like the program, but our state competition's on Wednesday and Thursday, and then we're back here to San Antonio to play on Friday.
Right,
so.
right. We have, we'll talk basketball in a minute, same thing. We got a basketball player that'll be at state and Round Rock. We got to get him back for the basketball game.
Who's that?
Kai. And so
Yeah.
it's incredible what these kids at San Marcos High School do across all these programs. So, well, we want to give the chance every time for these kids to have you got a live mic, and we want to make sure you get a shout out. So who are those folks you want to send a shout out to back at home?
My family, my sister, my mom, and my dad. I love them. Thank you all.
Yeah, same to my fam, and then my whole team. They're like my second family. So.
My parents, because they've been supporting me since day one, and then my team, because they're my second home.
Well, then I have to shout out the team too.
Make sure you get them all in
Yeah.
there, right? And so we'll edit in extra shout outs if you come up with some
Okay,
after
thanks.
the show, right? All right, well, thank you guys so much, and thank you to the girls soccer team for joining us in studio. Thanks, Coach Holmuth, for being here and joining us, and good luck on the rest of your season.
Thank you.
All right, well, next up here on Rattler Up, we are going to turn our attention to the team that has earned a playoff berth, and they are now in the middle of an exhilarating playoff run. That is your San Marcos High School boys basketball team. Coach, this one has been a thrill to watch.
Absolutely. They've kind of put our whole athletic program and city, school on their backs. And this is what's beautiful about athletics is when you get the right people together and they got the same goal. Like, listen to these girls talk. That as an AD, it makes me feel good that they're doing things the right way. And getting Dan Miller in here with this group of guys they're doing it the right way.
Absolutely.
And you can see it on the court.
It's been great. Well, the boys finished the season 34-3 with a 9-1 district record, good for the first UIL district championship in 24 years. They opened the playoffs at Canyon High School against the Clark Cougars, and in a game they were really battling from behind all night in. The Rattlers took the bi-district title 50-48. They get their first playoff win since 2015, and that sets the stage for the incredible area matchup this past Friday night. But Coach, before we get to that area game, Talk a little bit about what it's been like to watch the snake pit filled and just see this team perform at a high level. We talked with the wrestlers earlier, high expectations. This is a team that from day one had high expectations, and they've been managing that.
Yeah,
very well.
absolutely. You're right, because everybody saw this coming when they were freshmen. And we've had some with Kofor, moving in, and Cash being young and seeing the court. They've got key pieces, and the community's got behind them. And you saw that even during the regular season. District play, our gym just kept getting fuller and fuller and
really
fuller.
did.
And one, they play hard, but they're really entertaining, and they're really talented. And they embrace us in the stands. They play their game, but they know we're there, and they feed off of us. So, watching them all year long, they've unfortunately and fortunately, they've been behind in the first half, and we kind of known as a second half team, which is played to our advantage. In the playoffs, you're going to be behind. So we've already been down there. We're trained. Like even the other night when Westlake came out hot, I knew we were going to claw our way back into it.
We're fine, right? Yeah.
Now it was real hot. Like they couldn't miss. But Javen got us back in it pretty quick.
Absolutely. Well, and you talk about that when momentum being such a key. We know we're going to face a Reagan team that hasn't lost since December.
Right.
And have they faced that adversity when we put it on them? We've been there, done that. We keep battling. Well, so that's what led us to this last Friday night as the Rattler Nation turned out in droves to Bowie High School to see two state-ranked teams go at it as the Rattlers took on Westlake for the area crown. And Coach, there were literally people standing outside looking in the window at this game. Describe that environment at Bowie High School Friday night.
Yeah, I saw it happening because about 6:15, our side was filling up quick, and we didn't play till 7:30. So our student body actually did not have any seats in the stands, which was a problem. So that's why our staff had to watch it with the student body to babysit them, make sure all their energy didn't make it to the floor. Then you looked behind us. There was a glass door and some glass windows to the outside. And it was full. People were asking us to wipe the windows off.
You could have closed circuit TV.
It was
outside. It
was great, and it's going to be that way from here on out. The community's got behind these boys, and they deserve it.
Well, as you mentioned, the game really kind of started out as bad as it could, right? They just couldn't find themselves in a groove. They found themselves down 10-0 earlier in the game, and I gotta believe most teams start to crumble at 10-0. As you said, you could see it on a team's face. We're good. We got this. They kept fighting. In fact, very quickly, they were able to make it a 4-point deficit after one. It was a 1-point game at the half.
Yep.
And we were right back in it. And that second half was incredible. The fourth quarter made for just as heart-stopping a game as you're ever going to see, with both teams going back and forth. The Rattlers were finally able to extend a 48-44 lead midway through the period. And with each possession, it really became kind of a game breaker. Every basket counted, every turnover counted. I've never seen anything like it. Ultimately, we hit our free throws down the stretch. We didn't give them the chance to make their comeback, and we walk away victorious, 54-48. The Rattlers win the area title for the first time in 20 years. Coach, great team play in here in this one. You had your usual suspects. Malik Presley leads the team with 18. Javen Kofor puts up 16. Caden scores 12 and pretty much makes the right pass to the right player the whole night long.
Absolutely.
But it really took every player in every minute of this game to pull this out.
Yeah, and if you're really, and the ones who have watched us and followed us, you really understand. Like, you're going to see the stats. You're going to see who scores. You're going to see Caden make the great passes. But we play great man defense, and we put pressure on the ball all day long, and that's what gives us a chance. I think if there was a difference maker, and besides us having talent, but we're playing all talent now, it's the way we play defense, and we take charges, and we make the extra pass, and that's good basketball.
Well, and I can't speak as a basketball expert, but just something layman's eyes that I saw, it seemed as though Westlake was trying to make switches to create defensive mismatches, which is common strategy, but there isn't one.
No.
Because every one of the boys on the court for us can guard whoever. Fine,
play defense.
Fine. You made the what you consider to be a mismatch, and then we took the ball from you anyway.
Absolutely.
And it seemed like that was something Westlake battled all night.
No, there's no doubt. And like I said, even with Cash, the sophomore that we got that comes off the bench, he could easily start because of his defensive play and his quickness and he's not afraid to take shots. But I've been proud. I didn't know if he was going to be able to contribute like he does. I knew he could play, but didn't know he was going to be that kind of contributor right now. And because of his defensive play and where he gets himself in position, and he's quick, he gives him a chance.
He's that frustrating defender I mean, the ball handlers were frustrated
Yep.
when they knew he was on them.
We're always in your face.
Yeah. Well, next up is the regional quarterfinal round as the San Marcos Rattlers take on the Reagan Rattlers tomorrow night at Canyon High School with a 7 o'clock tip. Coach, it doesn't get any easier here. Reagan, 31-5 on the year, a perfect 16-0 in district. And I think, as you mentioned, if you're going tomorrow night, and if you're not, what's wrong with you? Get there early. 7 o'clock tip. I believe we were told gates are opening at 6, and
Yep.
I'm thinking that's a little late to get there if
You better
if
be
you're
there.
looking to get a seat. Am I
You
right?
better be there at 6, or you might get the fire marshal might close the door on you.
Yeah, so be there to support them at Canyon High School as we take on the Reagan Rattlers. Well, exciting time for all things Rattler Nation right now in San Marcos, and we want you to be a part of it every chance you get. Well, that's going to be it for this week's Rattler Up, but as always, we want to get you caught up with where you can see all the purple and gray coming up this week. And so we want to, again, take a minute to thank our Rattler student production team for the new setup, a little new scene here
I
in
walked
the studio.
in, didn't know where I was. It looked totally different.
It's fantastic, so we always thank them and Jack Moore and Josh for helping us out. Well, before we go, let's remind you of all the opportunities you can catch the Rattlers in action this week. Tomorrow night, big night, right? Lots of stuff going on. Girls soccer will continue their quest at Rattler Stadium to take on the Steel Knights. Varsity begins at 7:15. Also tomorrow night, baseball's in town. Baseball, softball, powerlifting. We mentioned them tonight, but it's all going on right
No
now.
doubt.
Baseball takes on Kerrville-Tivy. First pitch at 7 o'clock. Now this Thursday night, we mentioned, really great event. Goodnight and Miller Middle School having their middle school track meet. That's going on here at San Marcos High School at 5 o'clock. And our Special Olympians will be participating in that track meet as well. So a chance to go out and support 3 really great teams Thursday night. And then this Friday night, it is senior night for the boys soccer team. They'll take on Judson Rockets. Varsity starting at 7:15. But of course, the big one, as we mentioned, tomorrow night, Canyon High School, the Battle of the Rattlers, as San Marcos takes on Reagan in a regional quarterfinal matchup. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock, and like we mentioned, gates open at 6, and that is probably what time you need to be there. That gym is going to get tight, and as we were told, when you hit capacity, they have no choice but to shut the doors, and that's who's going to watch it. And I don't think there's windows to look in from at Canyon like there was at Bowie.
Better be there early. I'm sure I'll be babysitting the student section
Absolutely.
again.
Well, before we head out, we want to acknowledge all the loved ones and those that were affected by the tragic loss of life this past Friday night, or Friday at Goodnight Middle School. Our community rallied in support with prayer vigils and other events continuing to take place since the incident. We want to thank all those amazing surrounding school districts that really poured their heart out this week and united us with and wore purple in their schools and their offices today. San Marcos ISD truly appreciates you and thanks you for that support. Our love and prayers go out to the family, and we will continue to be here for you as you need it. So we want to thank VYPE and our producer Josh. He continues to put a great platform for us together here at Rattler Nation. Thanks to Jack Moore and all the student techs here at the Rattler Broadcast Studio for your hard work in making this show run so well. That does it for this week. For Coach Walsh, I'm CJ Odom, and you've been watching Rattler Up.